Welcome to Running Unicorns, sports talk that goes beyond stats and stadiums. I'm your host, Kristina Southam Townsend. Each episode, we take one word and run with it, exploring how sport connects us, shapes us, divides us, and ultimately unites us. Welcome to the club. Come, run with us. Hi, I'm your host, Kristina of Running Unicorns, and we are live and running. I'm so excited to have you here. As a part of this podcast, I'm going to invite you to go on a journey with me. Starting in 2012, I was running the St. George, Utah Marathon with my sister, who had encouraged me to sign up, by the way. As we were emerging from the desert, this is 26.2 miles, just to remind you how long a marathon is, we started to see signs of life. Not just plants, but people holding signs that said, "You're almost there." And jokes on me, I believed them. I remember being so tired and exhausted and ready to just be done. Well, as we were nearing the finish line and I'm seeing these signs saying 0.2 more, I thought, I can do this. I'm so close. We turned the corner and the finish line was nowhere in sight. And I remember stopping and thinking and yelling, "I feel deceived." And I was so frustrated and I started walking and my sister kind of looks at me like, "What are you doing?" And I thought, I am rebelling. And I don't know who I'm rebelling against, but I am doing it. And I realized I am only hurting myself. So I dusted myself off, picked myself up. She nudged me along and we got to the finish line. While it was so exhausting, it was so thrilling. I now have done several marathons since and half marathons. And in fact, co-founded a half marathon race. With that, I share it because I hope this podcast will be that nudge to you to get moving, whatever it is your goal is, whether that's a marathon, whether that's a 5K, whether that's getting out and trying something new. I hope that we can nudge each other to get out and experiment, get outside our comfort zones and have fun. With that, I'm going to share a little bit more about myself. Today's going to be a solo episode, and I will do more of those. I'll also have episodes with guests. I'll have some that are more formal, some that are informal. But today I'm interviewing myself. I've got some questions in this gorgeous Running Unicorns mug here to help prompt this conversation. So with that, first one is, what are your wildest hopes and dreams for this podcast and the Running Unicorns Club? Okay, big question to kick things off. I remember reading a book by a diplomat that talked about a lot of people want world peace, and we may have to settle for managing conflict in the meantime. And while I do still dream of world peace, I believe that while we can aspire for that, we're also human, we're imperfect. And so the best we can do is, with our imperfect, dysfunctional family as a nation and world, let's figure out how to get along. So I'm hoping that through sports, we can invite a culture of sportsmanship into our everyday lives. And one of the things that I love most about sports is when they shake hands at the end, that while we can have these intense differences and passions around our team or our mascots or a call, we can shake hands at the end. I feel like in our digital world, people have gotten a little disconnected from those real life interactions. I remember my mother talking about your circle of influence, and she'd have me stick my hands out and she'd say, "That's your circle of influence." And while that is true, I can go beyond that too. The amazing blessing and a curse, I believe, of living in a digital world is that we are now inundated with so much influence, and there's a lot in our circle of influence by the nature of a phone being in the palm of our hand or a screen being in front of us. I hope to be a positive influence in your life and hopefully yours and mine as well. We literally are in each other's circles of influence and you're in others. So I hope that this podcast will be a positive, bright spot in your life and that you will extend that to others, whether that's again on the pitch or in the palm of your hand, that will keep open hearts, minds, doors, and wallets as we have these conversations, which is a part of my mission, is to invite people to be open to possibilities and curiosity. All right, what is the DMV and where are you actually from? DMV stands for DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Very appropriate if you know the area. We love a good acronym. Coming from the heart of differences of opinion in the nation's capital, I want to be a part of bringing people together. While we can honor those differences, that we can also honor each other and maintain respect. I'm originally from Ohio. I've lived all around the world. I've spent a significant amount of time in Utah and am now back in this area in the DC Metro, and excited to bring some local perspective and regional perspectives, as well as a national and global perspective. So if you hear me referencing the great state of Ohio or Utah or Maryland, those are some of the places that I love and know best, in addition to other areas in the world. Next question. What was your first introduction to sports? Well, my father was actually a black belt in karate, and my mother was a skier, and both were horse riders. And I remember distinctly my mother always making sure she got out for a walk. We were a very active family. We always got out and did all kinds of activities. But I think sports really showed up in my life was just encouraging teamwork, getting out, trying something new. I remember I wasn't so sure about soccer when I first started, and my mother and father encouraging me to just finish the season. And I continued to play for seasons more and really loved it. In fact, my sisters were actually on the first women's soccer team at our high school, and excited to have that be a part of my family heritage. I will add my grandmother played tennis and went swimming into her early 80s, and really set a high bar. So I hope to live a long, happy, active life like her. Next question. What is your word for this year? So this is very on theme for this podcast. My word is move. And Gretchen Rubin, if you're familiar with her, she's the author of The Happiness Project. She and her sister do an invitation to choose a word theme for the year. I have been a part of that practice for a few years now. And my word this year is move, as mentioned, and invite you to move with me. And it can be from moving forward, moving on, moving together, moving back, getting moving. It's been a fun word to think about and inspiration for this podcast too. With that, I'm also choosing a word for each episode. Every episode will have a word that anchors the conversation, and hopefully that can be something you can take in your life too and see what words and meaning show up for you. What is your experience with running? I grew up doing track in high school, which was a lot of fun, and didn't get into distance running until after that in college. And as mentioned, that was mainly with some nudging and prodding from my sister. Now I love it. But one of the most meaningful experiences was actually in 2023. I did the Mount Everest Marathon. I really had wanted to do this for a little while. I'd done some trekking in Nepal. And I remember seeing a sticker on one of the lodges that said something about the Mount Everest Marathon. And I thought, what is that? That sounds crazy. And I'm interested. And I was living in Utah at the time at a high elevation. Well, I could probably do this. I'm a runner. So I signed up for it. I trained, and I actually found out I was pregnant. So I registered for this race. I consulted my doctor and I said, I want to be smart and I think I can do this. She said, just be okay quitting. Well, I did it. It was really quite amazing. And looking back, I'm kind of impressed myself. And I share that because I want to show people what's possible. While every pregnancy is so unique and everyone's individual health is so personal, I do want people to know that, we might surprise ourselves. And I was smart about it. I was careful. I had my husband with me and there was a medical team. We got to base camp. So you trek for 2 weeks and we stay at base camp for 2 nights. Then you run a marathon down 26.2 miles. And when I say run, that's a loose term. It's really an adventure race. You're dodging Joe Yaks and other hikers and rocks. It was truly an adventure race. So worth it. And now there was one woman who ran it before who was Nepali and she ran it pregnant. Otherwise, I think I'm the next international woman to do it. So exciting to have that be a part of my running history and really special time. All right, next question. Why this? Why now? I think sports is such a fun vehicle for introducing people to each other, literally, from making friends on a team to being a really great vehicle for creating social impact and introducing people to different cultures and different perspectives. I think it's also an economic opportunity. It's a great leadership developer and incubator. So there are a few different reasons, but I feel like now's the time when we could use sport and recreation and play and not take ourselves so seriously and have a little bit of fun. Okay, finally, last question. Why the name Running Unicorns? Well, if you haven't noticed a theme, I think it's fun. First, it's just a fun name. You'll notice the logo. I've got 2 logos. One has a horn that's in the shape of a triangle, looks like a unicorn horn. I think it also looks like a party hat, and then the actual running unicorn. But the reason I chose that name has a few reasons. The first is running could mean a lot of things. It can mean literally running. It can also mean running a business, running for office, running this podcast. Then unicorns can also mean a lot of things. At face value, it might be the mythical beast. It could also be a $1 billion startup. It could also be a symbol for the Boston Marathon. It could be a myriad of other things that are unique and special. And I hope that these conversations we have together will be unique and special and invite you to add more color to your life, to think outside the box and not make assumptions at face value. I hope that this will inspire all of us to get outside of ourselves, go be active. And whether that's literally running, I will cover all the aspects of sport here. It probably will be running leaning since that's my background. But I'm excited to have these conversations with you, and I'm grateful you're here. Until next time, keep running. That's a wrap. Thank you for joining us. And now it's your turn. We invite you to continue the conversation and run with it to your circles of influence. From the boardroom to the kitchen table, share how sport and play can connect, unite us, and ultimately be a positive impact in our communities. Life is short, and we're so grateful you spent this precious time with us. Go outside, go for a walk, sign up for that 5K, get tickets to something, get sweaty, and have fun. We hope you'll be back soon. And in the meantime, join us on Strava, social media, or visit runningunicorns.com to learn more. Thanks so much for being here. And until next time, keep running. If you had a good time today, tell us in the comments what you enjoyed and what you hope to hear more of. You're also welcome to reach us via email, team@runningunicorns.com, with a message or voice note. This has been a production of Southtown Communications.